And we are live, and I have some special guests here, Tom and Ronen. What's happening? What's happening here on this Friday? And you already know, like when we start this, we gotta start off right. We gotta start off right, even though it's over. Even though it's over, you always got to start off with that. So welcome, everybody, to Muffins at Morgan. If you have not been here before, you know what I'm going to ask you. Where are you tuning in from? But also as well, you see, if you have a different question here, where do you want to travel next? Maybe you have something on your mind. Where do you want to travel next? It would be cool to see what is going on. So, as you see, y'all, I have two guests. We are going to introduce them here in a minute. But as always, let us know where you're tuning in from. Like and comment in here. We want to see everyone coming in hot. I'm really excited about this show today, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some cold calling. Now, here's the special treat of this. All right. We gave out a gift card last time. Shout out to my James. My boy James asked a great question. He got a gift card. So it's not like, oh, here's a gift card. And like, I'm actually handing out gift cards. So the thing is that like, if you want to participate today, we are doing. Oh, someone's already roasting you. They're already saying, is your mic working? They're already coming after you.
Wow.
Oh, man. That's fair. That's fair.
You don't even get a chance yet.
I went into the settings just to check.
Wow. Already coming for you. We haven't even started the show. So
Ohio representing.
If you want to come in and actually do a mock cold call, DM me on LinkedIn. I'll send you the link to come join us. And you could do a mock cold call live in front of anyone, so you can get your critique and get some coaching here if you want to get better. So again, I'll say this one more time. If you want to come on the show with us, you want to do a mock cold call with us, that's the goal of today. Send me a message on LinkedIn. Just send me a message on LinkedIn, DM me. I will send you the link to get in here, and then you can hang out with us. If not, we're just going to answer some questions only around cold calling, right? We're solely focused on cold calling today. But without any further ado, Tom, Ronen, introduce yourselves, and we're going to get into the show.
Test your mic, Ronen. You go first.
1 2 1 2. What's up, everyone? I'm Ronen Passar out in San Diego. It is finally sunny again. It was raining for a bit. And I've been cold calling for the better part of 8 years now. And now I'm a full-time cold call trainer, as well as coach and consultant for folks who do SDRing and need SDRing help. I work with individual managers, or I help companies build their team ground up. So stay tuned. A lot of good stuff in the works here. I have a little giveaway too for anyone who wants it today. I have a full templated script, and it's going to be all the stuff we talk about is going to be on there. So if anyone is looking to revamp their call script, stay tuned. I'll share the link for you to make a copy of it before the show is over.
Okay. I'm giving out a $20 gift card. So I mean, there's that. Tom, you have to introduce yourself. But sounds like you're gonna give away something.
I gotta give away some stuff. I'm all right. Tom Slocum, right? I am now founder as well. Was a VP of sales. Been in sales for 16 years now. Collectively, the three of us have made over 10 million phone calls, and been on the game for what now? 100 years? Yeah, for real. I run the SD Lab. I'm a founder. I'm doing exactly like Ronen, right? As I'm helping teams kind of build a culture of success through, outbound prospecting, and then consulting founders and companies in their outbound motion. What will I give away today? I am happy to donate some discount codes to you, Morgan, for my email template bundle. They're like 25 emails pre-written with formulas that you could plug and play with. And I'll throw in an hour free meeting with me, free coaching.
Y'all,
so I'll follow up with those.
Y'all, I don't even know what to say, right? We got the air horns already active. All right, okay, so here's the thing. You can only get all this stuff if you volunteer and you That's the only way that's going to happen. However, we're gonna dive into the questions. If you don't want to come on, that's fine. Drop your questions in the chat and we're going to answer them. So first thing that we have here is, this is it's a pretty solid question, right? How do you make cold calling less awkward? Talk to us, Ronen. How do you do that?
Oh, man. There's a few things that screams out to me. Look, cold calling will always be awkward. Let's call a spade here. Cold calling is intimate. This is why people react so extreme to it. Think of it. Okay. I call someone, suddenly I'm in their ear, one-on-one. Where else do you get that intimate with a complete stranger? Not if you're going out to get something to eat. Nowhere. So when you cold call somebody, you have to realize that like it's just you and them, voice to ear and voice to ear. The fact that it's that intimate means you got to find ways to lower the barrier, the threshold of resistance really fast. That's the awkward part of it. It's unavoidable. Call a spade again. Let's be honest here. It's tough, right? Like when you're getting started, I think the very first cold call I made, I was so nervous. I was working for this company called Smartling, really great company. They're growing fast. And the guy picks up the phone and I go, hi, it's Smartling from Ronen. I mean, nervous, I just hung up. That's how it goes. It's tough. So one of the things to realize is you got to practice. If you get comfortable with that opener, you get comfortable with the first 5 to 7 seconds, you start to learn, and we'll share some of these tips for later, but you start to learn some automatic responses so that you feel comfortable no matter what they say, that you can buy yourself 2-3 more seconds to get back into it. Nothing beats rote repetition when you're getting started. And as you continue to grow from intermediate to advanced, that's when it's time to start learning more of the advanced techniques and tactics. But as you're getting started, you got to get the numbers in. You got to get used to it. You don't see, if you watch the documentary about the Olympics team, the U.S. Olympics team that won the bronze, like, it was a shame, right? How does U.S. not win gold in basketball every single time they play?
Yeah, I mean, it's completely embarrassing.
And so you hear the story about when Kobe entered the scene. And I know, Morgan, he's a special one for you too, but like Kobe entered the scene, they're all coming back from the club at 4 a.m. and he's going to the gym. You know, it's like, what do people not see about you when you're alone, when you're at home? Do you practice in the mirror? Do you record yourself? Do you grab a friend and practice? One of the most underrated things about sales in general is it's like a sport. It's like playing an instrument. It's like doing any craft. You got to practice it. So it's kind of a, sorry, I don't have a silver bullet for you on this one. The only way to make it less awkward is to do it more.
I think that's the cornerstone answer, is that in order to not feel awkward in anything, you have to practice and do it more. Right. So I think that's a solid answer. I want to go to this next question. I think this is really good. What is the basis of objection handling? Tom, dive into this one. And continuously, if you'll have any questions, throw them in the chat. We're going to try to answer as much as we can here for the hour.
The basis, objections are going to happen. They always will. You're trying to convince somebody from 0 to 100 in 30 seconds via email, to take action. And the real basis of objection handling is just what I like to call the AAA method. That's what I call it, like the insurance, roadside assistance come in. But I think the basis of objection handling is just acknowledging it. Most reps don't. They cruise right on by. They get fear. They get defensive because a lot of folks go into a call with a pre-committed goal. And when it doesn't happen that way, they get frustrated. Or if somebody pushes back with an objection they might not be prepared for, they get defensive. And so I think objection handling isn't even handling anything. Don't handle nobody. Nobody wants to be handled. It's not something to overcome. It's not something to, tackle. It's a conversation. Morgan and I invite him to go somewhere. He knee-jerk reaction is like, well, I might have something going on at that time. Like, you don't get immediately like, well, whatever, Morgan, then don't come. You talk about it like, hey, that's cool. What is it that you have going on? Talk to me about that. Maybe we can find a way to, get through that. So I think the basis of objection handling is just meet the buyer or the prospect where they are, acknowledge it, address it, and then align. That's kind of my AAA, right? Is address it, acknowledge it, and then align it back to the goals, and bring it back to the conversation or pivot out of that to a different topic.
And I've seen Tom do this. He's really good at it too. Like before you know it, you just feel like you're on the phone with your friend. And that's one of the things I love about Tom's cold calling style is he's got this approach where he really creates a connection with people. And there are different styles, and that's cool too. I think the thing that most people don't realize is there still is good and bad. Not every style works. There are good ones and there are bad ones.
Yeah, I agree with that across the board. I mean, I'm going to tell you how I do it. Like this is the best way to handle an objection.
Ooh, masterclass.
You understand me? And y'all say my name, put some respect on.
That's all you got to say. Just play that clip every single time. Just play that clip every single time. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. That's the fastest way to get banned on the line. That's actually the fastest way to have do not contact me ever again. But I want to like echo what someone said here. Alex in the chat. I want to show him some love. Acknowledge, accept, ask questions. Very similar to what
that's it.
Well, right. Like I think it ultimately just comes down to knowing where like, because if you don't acknowledge the objection, I think that's where people go wrong. There's a lot of advice on saying like, hey, just ignore it. Well, no, because they're going to come back, they're going to get annoyed, they're going to get angry, right? So
totally,
you want to make sure that you at least acknowledge it, right? And then follow up with some type of questions there to move forward. So I think everyone there understands that process. So let us know. Let's go back up here, make sure that we're good. Dale, let us know if that question or that helped answer your question. Let us know. Anna, let us know if that helped answer your question as well.
One thing I wanted to.
Yeah, go ahead.
I had one thing there. Go for it, Ronen.
I'm sure we were just about to say the same thing. Like this is human psychology, by the way. Those of us who might have a significant other might know this very well. Hey, did you hear what I said? Right? That's what acknowledging is. So I have a lot of practice with my wife. She might not agree, but
what did I just say, Ronen? What did I just say? Repeat it back to me.
Tell me what I just said. So if you want to get good at this, you just gotta have a significant other.
That's it. Just practice with a partner.
Dating, is that what you're telling people?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Go date. Go deal with the frustrations of injections. It'll be ripping off a Band-Aid. My point that I wanted to make, Ronen, and I was shocked you didn't go with, is a lot of this comes down to tonality too. When you mentioned how intimate this conversation is, to be one-to-one on a phone, that is the only tool in your arsenal, is smiling, that delivery. And so when you're addressing and acknowledging an objection, you got to really come from a place of genuine curiosity and seek. My favorite kind of term I say is seek to understand and be understood, right? It's like stuck with me for a while lately. Just seek to understand, like, hey, I hear this objection, but really mean it. Don't be just like blowing through it, blowing smoke to move on to the next call. Generally have a conversation and you might be able to, talk them through that concern. Feel, felt, found, right? Ronen's favorite. We talk about that, right? That's Morgan's. I'm shocked you didn't bring that up, sir. But let them know, like, hey, Morgan, I feel that. Like, I understand, what I found talking with, other leaders like yourself. You're not alone in this. A lot of them are trying to manage their time, be stretched thin. But what they found is, doing this has been able to help that, right? And what we felt from that outcome is this kind of goes through that emotional pull with them and acknowledgement,
Would it be insane if I shared one of the slides from week 1 of my cold calling boot camp we just did on this?
That would be way too insane. You can't.
This is promo. Yeah, this is so much value, bro. Like, damn.
Show real quick, and then we got to move to the next segment. All
right, I'll just do this real fast. But here it is. Like, there's only really 3 big tones here that we got, and let's see. How do I get this up on the thing?
I got you.
There it is. There it is.
Like, when it comes down to it, you only have 3 major tones. The ones you'll see on YouTube, by the way, from people like Grant Cardone, the Wolf of Wall Street himself, and any of these like big personalities is the confident one. So that's the one we see a lot of. There's lots of examples of confident. One of my all-time favorites of the friendly is Sarah Brazier, because she has a really great Sandler adapted one, especially with her opener. But that's one that people most naturally gravitate to. I'd say that's a really good like beginner level one, is the friendly tone. And then the funny one is typically a little bit more advanced. Look, I'm not funny at all, but the one LinkedIn post I put out there that went viral was, hey, this is a cold call. You want to roll the dice? And like, for some reason, that one went gaga. But these are the only 3 tones that exist on a cold call that are actually good. When you break it down, you don't have any other. Now, by the way, confident is also buttoned up and sharp. Friendly is also warm. Funny can also be comedic. But this is it. Anything else usually comes off as unprepared, nervous, or any of the other things that people typically don't feel attracted to or persuaded by when they're getting a call from a stranger?
I'll throw in one more that I've really leaned into and discovered, Ronan. Tell me if I'm onto something here. The unsure tone has actually done a lot of wonders for folks. So, and what I mean by that is not like the stumbling or the mumbling or the nerves that come in, but Morgan's favorite question that I double down on all the time is, out of curiosity, can you tell me more about this? Or you come unsure, like, is this on the right page? Like, this would be right for you, right? Like, would you agree? The answer is yes to these unsure moments, but when you deliver them in this way, you allow the prospect to feel a little bit of power and control in the dynamics of the call. But you are still like, hey, I saw you were the director over there. Is that accurate? Would that be you? Or, hey, could you tell me, am I even onto something here? It kind of works wonders. So I've really been understanding this like little fourth bonus tone of just positioning like this unsure phrasing that kind of makes them talk a little bit more.
Yeah, that's especially good if you're about to ask something sharp. If you're going to ask them something that could be taken the wrong way, like if you don't want to call their baby ugly. So if you have an unsure tone, like, hey, I'm just curious, do you already have a way of, and you fill in the blank, and you're trying to provoke them, or you're trying to gauge, like, do you have a way of doing this thing that I'm calling you about?
And what they're going to say, totally. It, where it's kind of going to go, right? Of like, well, yeah, Tom, but they feel power versus what I can't stand is these reps that are out there calling, assuming anything with the prospects and like being kind of direct about it. Like there's a time to be confident and direct, but like, again, you're calling somebody's baby ugly. You're telling them their job is terrible, that your solution's so great, and that you got to take this 30 minutes or come on, man, it's just 30 minutes on your calendar. Give it to like, they don't owe you nothing. And so when you come from this conversational, unsure approach, in certain strategic placement, they're willing to like own that conversation with you and talk it out, or just be like, Tom, yeah, you're right on with that. That's exactly what I'm going through. And you get to use their words later back, right? Ronan and Morgan, you close that back at the end based on what you were telling me, right? You said this is really where you're aligning right now. Would that make sense then for us to, dive into a deeper conversation next week? And I can show you how that would play out.
Yeah.
Can't argue
tons of great insight here so far. Appreciate all the stuff that we're dropping. If y'all are getting any type of insight from this, let us know if it's helpful in the chat. Throw it in there. And y'all, like, here, this is about to get crazy. We actually have someone live. Okay.
Nathan!
Congratulations. Second time, right?
Second time.
Already.
Absolutely.
If you guys don't know, Nathan just had a baby.
3 weeks old.
Congrats, Nathan. Congrats.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we have Nathan here, and when we get someone that's actually live on a cold call, we're gonna give you something special here. And this sound, y'all may have heard of this sound before, but if you haven't, I don't even know what to tell you. But here we go. It's time, y'all. It's time. All right. So now we have Nathan here for the cold call. Now, here's how this is going to go down. You all can provide any insight or anything inside the chat. However, let's keep it nice because we want to learn here and we want to keep it informative. So what we're going to do is, Nathan, you're going to tell us who's your buyer that you typically call. If you have a certain scenario, I don't know if you're inbound or outbound. If you have a scenario, you want to say, hey, it's completely cold or it's inbound, you give us the context as well. And then we'll have one of us be the prospect, and then we'll give you some insight on it. So let us know your situation.
Yeah, so it's a unique one for you guys because I know we're all in tech sales and stuff, but I actually sell copiers to my local area, to people I go see face to face. But I always call ahead of time. So generally, I'm going to be talking to an office manager or someone who's in the back office of some kind to start to talk about their office equipment. I do almost all outbound.
Okay. We love it. So who wants to be the prospect? Who's doing it today?
Let's do it. I'm game.
All right. Your goal, obviously, schedule the call. Ronan's going to act as a real prospect. So this probably isn't like him in real life. So, everyone calm down because I was like, oh, he's so mean. It's like, that's how the calling is. All right. Like, we know how that's how it goes. All right. So everybody relax when he's mean. All right. So we're going to go through a real scenario here. And then y'all can provide feedback across the board as you want to on these calls. Again, this is just to be informative. But Nathan, whenever you're ready, you can do the ring and we'll go into it. And also, before we do that, everyone that's asking a question, you're like, I don't have my question answered yet. We're gonna get to your question. We're gonna do the mock cold call. We're gonna get to you, all right? Because I'm already hearing it in the DMs.
Morgan.
Why did you get my? I got you, all right? Relax. Okay, so
Nathan, anything I should know about my role?
Yeah, just imagine you're a back office worker or an office manager for a small business. There's really not much to it, and I know my prospects back and forth in their whole day, so there's nothing that's too crazy or special about it. And be brutal with me. Do not take the kid gloves off and give me what you got.
let's go.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
All right, ring.
Hello?
Hey, is this Ronen?
Yeah, who's this?
This is Nathan from Kelly Connect. This is a call about your office equipment.
I'm sorry, is this a cold call?
This is a cold call. You caught me off guard there. Is there anything that is going to stop you from having a quick conversation with me about your office equipment?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I've got my hands full right now. Do you have my email? Just send me a quick note.
I think I've got your email here. It's ronen@office.com. And I'll get something over to you. I was actually just calling to see if I can stop by your office this afternoon and drop off a business card and talk a little bit. Are you going to be busy throughout the rest of the day?
Yeah, sorry. What's this about?
Well, I apologize. This is about your office equipment. I'm from Kelly Connect. We're a local vendor that does copy machines, IT services, and communication. Is that something that you're handling now, or maybe am I even talking to the wrong person?
No, that's me. Yeah, I'm responsible for it.
Gotcha. Is there any reason why we couldn't have a conversation at some point? It sounds like you're busy now.
Well, so tell me a little bit more about what you offer at Kelly Connect.
The thing that's different about us compared to your average office technology vendor is that we cover all different vendors. We don't just handle equipment from one manufacturer alone, and we integrate deeply into your IT systems as well. It's a very complex and kind of goes everywhere. We end up getting a lot of people involved usually, and there's a lot of conversation to be had about it. You open to talking more?
Yeah, maybe. If you want to stop by later today, I head out at 5 o'clock, so feel free to poke your head in and say hello anytime after 3.
Okay, I'll do that, and then we'll talk some more about it. Thanks so much, Ronen.
You bet.
All right, cool. So, first thing first, before we go into feedback, I just want to give Nathan a round of applause because he did.
Sir.
He's like, I'm going to get in the mix.
Only prize winner at this chance right now, too.
Yeah, let's be honest. That's harder than the real deal.
Watching it all, so it's not easy at all. So I want to show you that kudos there. In the chat, please let us know, what you thought of the cold call. If you want to give feedback, I'm more than happy to do that. So we're just going to go around and just quick fire, right? Panelists here, because we do have some questions we need to answer. I would just say overall sentiment of this call, and then one thing you absolutely loved, one thing that you would consider maybe a suggestion for him to potentially change. So we'll start with Tom. We'll start with you. We'll go have Ronen last because he was on the call.
And I'd really like your guys' feedback too, because I have a very different approach where I just ask for what I want and just be very straightforward. So love to hear what you guys think.
No, we're gonna give it to you.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'll go first.
Morgan, what were the questions again to answer?
So overall sentiment, this is how I saw the call, is how I felt, etc. You can add what you want there. Then the next thing is, what was the best thing that you heard, and then was one suggestion. And also, this is for everyone listening in real quick, because I want to tell y'all why I'm saying this is important. Put a 1 in the chat if you're a manager or you're an enablement. Real quick, I just want to see real quick. Tom, you're doing a dance over there? Is that the 1 dance?
I'm saying the 1.
Yo, what? Hey, hit the 1.
What's going on?
Hit the 1, man. So the reason I do it that way is I have found over doing hundreds of mock cold calling sessions and training different companies across the world, I realized that it was easier for people to absorb feedback when you give them what was the biggest highlight and what is one suggestion, so they can immediately do it. I used to be like, do this, do this, do this, do that, and then be like, and they wouldn't do it. So that's the reason why we staged it that way. And also wanted to share that with you all. You can use it with your teams today or next week. But Tom, go into it.
Cool. Overall sentiment, Nathan, it really, for the most part, was really well done. There was a few tweaks, right, that I would recommend. But overall sentiment, I thought you did a good job in getting him back in the call. Ronen kind of came back around with you as almost trying to get off. He asked, what is this about? And you kind of got him to talk some more. So I thought you did a really good job there. What was like the biggest highlight is I'm trying to remember. You said something in one of the objections at the very beginning. I'm drawing a blank, Morgan. It's so hard to do it live and not be able to like
Is
capture
this
it.
a cold call?
No, your opener was really well done. I thought gosh darn it, I'm losing a thought, y'all.
I can jump in.
Well, the last thing I'll add is my one suggestion, and I'm going to come back to the highlight because I don't want to leave on a sour note. The only thing that I would say on the suggestion is just, what is the problem that you're actually solving through what you're calling these office managers for? Like, why you? What is it that you're going to bring to the table for Ronen to want to kind of be willing to want to talk to you more beyond just kind of like, hey, I'm just calling about your office stuff. Can I stop by the office? And then you made it really like tough at the end where you were like, well, it's complex conversations. We got to go through this, but can I come by? That's going to scare people off to not want to like engage like that. At Ronan's point triggered like, ooh, that's a lot. Like, dude, you can come by. I'll be here till 5. But like at that, I thought you just wanted to come by and have this clear thing with me. So what I would say is find something that's super relevant in that as you're digging and say, that's why you want to come by and not talk about this long drawn out process that really doesn't need to be talked about just yet because we don't know where this is going. So just go drill into one thing. But overall, thought you killed it. Thought it was a really good conversation. And I'll come back on my major highlight because Morgan might know what I'm trying to get with.
Yeah. Well, appreciate everybody in the chat, by the way, providing the feedback. It's also helpful in there as well because I know some of you out there are doing this day-to-day grind as well. So I appreciate that adding that sentiment. So I'd say overall, like I really liked your flow. I think like, and I say this a lot, but if you have a really good flow when it comes to cold calling, like the prospect is going to feel more at ease, right? And even when he was acting extremely confused, you were not confused. Most people, when they call and then the prospect confused, they get confused. They're like, oh, why was I calling in the first place? It's like, well, I mean, you made the call, so you should know that, right? And so that's something that can easily throw it off. And also doing it in front of live as well, you definitely held your composure. I love that, and it led to getting a potential meeting there. So highlight for me was how you continuously were pushing with those questions, right? And even I think you mentioned like local as well. I like how you mentioned the local piece. That was a really big highlight for me because it just creates relatability. It's like, okay, well, you've done this with other people, etc. Great. The one suggestion was the question you asked around the equipment. Maybe you could make that a little bit more targeted. Maybe it's something about the equipment. And I don't know. Maybe it's like, hey, like, have you had like struggles with your equipment? Or maybe you've had like, I don't know, slow printing copier process. I don't know what the question is, but maybe there's more of a leading question that could be more pointed in the beginning that could get you faster to pain points and then getting faster to getting a potential next step. That's my overall sentiment on that call across the board. So Ronen, I'll hand it off to you.
First, I'll say bravo. You basically got the meeting. So
Yeah.
success. Great success.
Exactly.
Right? We'll call it what it is.
But the second thing is to know a little bit of research. There's this group of researchers. The leading scientist was last name is Manning et al. They did a study on communication, and not shocking to anyone who's in cold calling or sales, they found that 93% of communication is nonverbal. 93%. 7% is the words you say. Now, again, when you're calling someone on the phone, it's an intimate experience and you don't have body language unless you're Italian and you talk with your hands. So the only thing I notice your hands underneath. But like I do that too all the time, by the way. So, okay, if the tone then makes up all of the nonverbal communication, it's really important to start to understand what are the building blocks of the tone. So one of the things that you did really well is you had a pretty solid energy to it. And I'm gonna share one last quick slide here. Morgan's gonna kill me. But
I don't even know if I can allow you to do this now.
Look, there's 3 core elements to what tonality is made up of. Volume. You can either talk really loud or really quiet. And pace, which is the hard one for most SDRs. Pace is the thing that we all mess up when we're early, we're nervous, we go too fast. And then energy has a lot to do with the affect, the feeling behind it. If you think about those things, even if you just think about the 2 pieces of it, just the volume and the pace, you'll start to be able to have much more control of the tonal affect, how they feel when they hear you. So on our role play here, like you had no lead time, you had no prep. This was the first one, you killed it. You went too fast. So by going too fast, I could sense you were a little nervous. And that put me off a little bit because in my head, I'm immediately thinking, this is a cold caller. He's trying to sell me something. But if you just slow that down by half speed, you know how like on YouTube, you could like go half speed. So you could watch that slam dunk highlight like really slow and it just hits that spot perfectly. So like you want to go half speed so they can really feel the punch of what you're trying to say and also control the tempo of the call a bit more. But overall, Nathan, I think you pretty much crushed it for a live role play in front of 150 people with no
Seriously.
prep time. So,
Yeah.
well done, man.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Well, here's the thing, Ronen. I was gonna kick you off the show, but Jessica said she likes the slides. So you were safe.
Hey,
You were safe.
there you go.
You almost got yanked off. I was
Hey,
gonna
Jessica,
keep Nathan,
great to
and
see you.
I was
Thanks
gonna be
for
like,
hopping.
you're gonna have to go, but Jessica saved you. So I just wanted to call that out.
Jessica's the best.
Tom, highlights,
Last thing-
and then we'll move on.
I can't. I feel terrible to the entire audience. I can't grab it. Nathan, it was good. You pivoted somewhere. He had said something about send me an email, I think. And then you said something very quick and then you just moved. And it was just really good. And I'm shocked I can't. If it was so good, why can't I remember
Yeah,
it?
I said something like, I think I have your email here. I'm happy to send something to you, but I'm just hoping to stop by your office. The whole ask for what you actually want.
Right. You just kind of addressed it and you were like, listen, I get that part. I'll do that. Right. But yeah, I think that was it. But yeah, overall, very good. One last thing I would talk about, and we talked about in some of the leading up to this, is the pause effect, right? Leveraging that. Morgan posted about that yesterday, and to the tonality and the delivery, be okay to pause. Just come more direct. You like the direct approach? I would say lead them. Stop like kind of guessing on like where you're going to go, or like, I just wanted to come by and we can talk. Come prepared, right? Like Morgan, or Ronen, you're the office manager. Here's the things that you're dealing with. I want to come through and show you something. Do you have time? This specific thing that I feel would be relevant to your persona, because you can't do research in your role. I assume like it's not jump on LinkedIn, do what everybody says. You just got to get through them. So try to learn your buyer's language, understand what they're going through and where your actual solution will come in, and then use that pause effect for the delivery when you're like delivering those snappy kind of specific examples.
Ronen out-paused me too. I was trying. I was
Yeah.
gonna come in and be like,
Sorry.
"Oh, let's go!" Like I'm just gonna shock him by being quiet, and then he just outdid me on it completely.
I don't even notice it anymore. It's just when you do it so long.
It's become you. It is who you are.
My
The
wife's like,
Jedi
"You
way
hurry
over
up.
there."
You take too long to say things." I'm like, sorry, I've been trained to slow down.
Well, thanks so much, guys.
Nathan, we appreciate
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good one, man.
And congratulations.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
That's
only
awesome.
prize
no
winner right
joke.
now.
All right. So really quickly, this is the halftime, y'all. So y'all know what happens at the halftime. Wait, not that one. The halftime alert. All right, y'all. So when we have the halftime alert, it's essentially like, let us know how things are going so far. So we have, I think about 100 people watching live right now, and I need to understand, what is your feedback? Is this impactful? Has this been helpful so far? Let us know in the chat. If it isn't, we'll just shut it down. We'll just go home. I'll go play Hogwarts Legacy. I'll go beat down some Hufflepuff. But regardless, right? Like, how are y'all feeling right now? Has this been impactful? Has it been helpful? We've been answering questions on the cold calling side. Just brought someone up live on here. Let us know in the chat. And also tell a friend. Share this out. Like, comment. We want to continuously have this interaction. We want to keep it going. We're just here to teach people, help them learn. So let us know in the chat. And then this is just a rapid fire question. And then I'm going to go back to some other questions here. So we calling cell phones? Simple answer is like, yes. I just don't want to go too deep into it. Like,
Hey,
yeah.
Morgan, how'd you get this number? This is my cell phone.
Like, it's like 1980s, man. Like, it's 2023.
People will
I
still
would
ask
call it
that,
so.
though, by
You
the
just
way.
gotta be
They'll
prepared.
they'll be like,
Oh, that's like the number one objection for most people now. It's crazy.
it's like,
Yeah,
how'd you get this number? Yo, it's 2023. Are you joking? Are you really asking me how I got your cell phone numbers? I can buy cocaine tigers and like basically anything on the internet. Don't think I can get a cell phone number?
Did you put it on any email or web form in any time in the last like 5 years? Because I got your number from you. You gave it to me without giving it to me.
It's wild, man.
Come on,
So,
guys. Kills me.
simple answer is yes. We appreciate all the feedback for everyone saying this is going well so far. Hey, someone said we should do this more often. Look, it's up to Ronen and Tom. You know, Ronen almost didn't even want to show up, y'all. So
I know. We had to,
Stop that. You
he
know,
tried
I'll
to
be here
big
any
flex me.
day.
He was like, dude, like,
I'm busy.
I'm out
I got some
here now.
clients,
I'm
I got some
like,
clients, like my
okay.
2 kids are watching TV downstairs. Shout out to Daniel Tiger. They don't have school today. So I'm like, oh shit, I gotta do this thing with Morgan and Tom.
There you go.
See, he says he has to, doesn't he? He's
All right,
against
see, did you see that word language?
Yeah,
Let's talk
I
about
saw
word
him. He's like,
choice. Dude, let's talk about word choice. Like, how important is that in cold calling,
I
right?
feel
Like,
honored
come
to
on,
be here
man.
in the presence of greatness.
All right, so we have a really, really good question here.
Yes.
I really like this one. Is what are some effective ways to follow up with prospects after a cold call? And how can I maintain momentum in the sales process? Also, how can leverage AI tools to enhance the effectiveness of building rapport and cold calls? All right, y'all, this could be like probably a 5-hour answer. So let's keep this compact because we do have other people who ask questions. We could be here all day, but the main thing I think we can answer here is how do you effectively follow up on a cold call? Maintaining momentum in the sales process is a lot more follow up and contextual questions because like you need to do better discovery. You can't basically make someone be urgent. You have to uncover urgency, and that's how you
Yes.
drive urgency, right? There's so many questions around maintaining momentum, and that really has to do more around discovery, right? So really, let's just focus on how do you effectively follow up after a cold call. And Samuel, I'm gonna have the same energy on our podcast later. Don't try to come in here.
You better.
You see him in there.
Yeah, you see him over here. He's like coffee with coffee.
Daniel's got a podcast.
I'm pretty sure anyone who's interacted with me, my energy does not change. I think everyone can vouch for that. It's pretty much the same.
By the way, let's pin that question. Morgan, I want to hear before we end how you keep your energy so high all the time.
How do you maintain the highs and
We'll
lows?
keep that.
Actually, let's see. Is the audience actually curious how I keep my energy so high? Like, is anyone actually curious in this? Because, like, if you're not, like, I'll just move on. Like,
Hey, you're a guru, man. Everybody wants to know your like whole routine. When are you waking up? When do you go to bed? What are you doing?
No, let's get a pulse. I only care about what the audience cares about. So if you put
Yes.
it to in the chat, I'll tell you what I do. And it's not like some of you might think it's like outlandish things, but it's like not really that crazy. But if people are interested, you put it to in the chat. We get enough of them, and like I'll tell you the walkthrough. Like,
Oh shit,
it's pretty much like, all right, let's see. You know, if it's like 2 people, like they're not really that interested. I'm not gonna bore you with the details. Y'all are here for cold calling, but I will dive into it.
So how do you follow up after a cold call? It's a good one, right? Which channel do you use, right? Where are they living, right? Because you have a great call. It also depends on what are you doing? What was the outcome of that cold call, right? If we're talking about a meeting was booked, man, you better get on it, right? Send a really solid agenda and a calendar. Get your AE involved, right? Let them know what value to expect, in this call, so they don't cancel you day of, right? If it was like, not right now, it was just like it's not a no, but it's a not right now. Then like Morgan said, you got to drill into that pain. You got to let them know. And SDRs don't do a good enough job of this. That's why follow-up stinks. That's why the bottles are lost there. There's no shows because nobody can capture the pain or the goal of this person to say, Morgan, can't wait to talk to you on Thursday at 3:00 to where we're going to truly dive into how we're going to elevate your outbound motion. We're going to create a playbook for you, and we're going to help your team accomplish, calling with confidence. Talk to you Thursday, right? Then when you don't ghost me, I'm like, didn't you want to like learn how to level your team? You could drill that pain, right, to get them to take action. I try to just do email, very brief email, under 100 words, recapping who I was, recapping, what we talked about, and letting them and asking them a very low ask question, trying to seek to understand, I know I caught you at a bad time today. Here's what I was calling for. Is this on your radar, or should I just kick your account out of my list and move on to somebody else? Let me know. Look forward to talking to you soon. It's a quick email. And it's like, Tom, perfect. Call me again tomorrow. Nope. Get me off your list. Unsubscribe. Or I just call again. Right. But I'm able to follow up in that way. And then video, as long as it's not cold. If it's like you've talked to this person or had some few emails, like 3 to 5 touches in, use that video follow-up, give them a face. But if it's like the first time you've ever cold called them, do not send a video straight to that email address. It's not going to do well. But that would be my follow-up. That's it.
That's great, Tom. Shout out to Adriana Vidal, who actually opened up to my eyes to using video as a follow-up for cold calls when you've had a conversation. She was like, hey, you just talked to the person. This is back when we were both at Stylo together. She's like, hey, you just talked to the person and you had a conversation. You can either send them an email, or why not send them a video and further create that connection of like them identifying who you are by face, by voice. And the video can just be a 30 to 60 second, really great connecting with you. It sounded like and you reflect back what you heard. It sounded like you said you want me to circle back in 9 months. Look, in the meantime, if it's helpful, I'd love to send you some resources about how you can still get going with this stuff. But also no stress if this isn't something that you want to focus on now. I'd say though, the question about the AI tools, look, I think right now there's not much you could do in terms of having AI make the calls for you, although that's been technology that's been around since 2018.
Yep.
Believe it or not, actually, Google had that ready to go, but they pulled it. I don't know why, but they have an AI assistant that is like calling people to book appointments for them. And you can hear on YouTube, if you just type in Google AI assistant 2018. So they've had this technology for 5 years, AI that can make cold calls that sounds like a human. However, I'm more interested in the AI companies like Trellis that helps you understand what you're doing well and what you're not doing well on a cold call. So feedback. And the last thing I'll say on that bit is there's also really cool technology coming out there that allows you to practice cold calls as if you're live. There's been stuff around for a while. I used something back in 2016, actually, which you call into a number and you get like a robot to respond, and then it records you. That was 2016. Now it's way better, the technology that's available that allows you to mimic and mirror some of the best callers you've heard before, as well as practicing objections, practicing your script, hearing it back so you can actually see how you hear. Last thing I'll say on that is, like, if you're going to make calls and you want to know how it sounds, just record yourself. And if it's cringy, you got to get back to practice. If you don't like the way it sounds, and I'm not just talking about the sound of your voice, because most people don't like the sound of their voice. I mean, you don't actually like how it lands. You're speaking too fast. You're not clear enough with your language. Your uptones are out of control. Like, if it's those things, then get back to the gym, get back to shooting your free throws, practice something else, keep going. But if it's not that bad, you probably have nailed the tone that you're trying to go for.
I like that. I used to call myself I used to compare voicemails when I was cold calling. Like, I'd call my phone in the morning, like about 30 minutes into the day, leave a voicemail as if I was a prospect. And then I would call after lunch again. And then at night I would review those, because you could see the increase in those levels of tonality from like bright and early in the morning to how you're coming back sluggish after lunch potentially. And you can kind of pick up on those cues. But I love call recording, man. I think like we're not talking enough about all the enabler leaders that were in here earlier. Like, hey, is it just practice? It is. And there's ways to just keep practicing, but like, you got to be enabled with this stuff to be coached, right? Curry, these athletes, they're in the gym 7 days a week. They are living and breathing, protecting their body, protecting their knowledge. And we have to do the same as cold callers. So Trellis, right? Nathan, who came up here and pitched with us, like, Trellis is a cool group. There's a lot of cool tools that can help you maximize how to build these rapport. Wingman's really cool. It like has battle cards and like scorecards that come up that are AI driven. And they're just like non-distracting, but like, you know, they come up. Second Nature, shout out to Nick Sproul and Jenny AI. You've seen that one, Ronen, right? And that they use AI to run simulations for cold calls, so you can actually play it out. There's a lot there, man. But practice, enabling them through these tools to kind of record yourself, hear these calls, have a library. You know, as an enablement leader, like, grab these recordings, put the best of the best and the worst of the worst in folders. Let new reps hear this stuff. Let each other hear how they're positioning, the tonality. And as a team, they'll keep practicing their shots and get better.
No, this is, hopefully everyone took notes on that. I think the biggest piece there is understanding on how to get better, and these tools in there. Jessica put in here Second Nature. I'm very familiar with them. I've actually used the Ginny software. It's good. Leslie Trellis just talked about it. So Ashley, hopefully that named a couple of the softwares you were looking for. And for anyone else looking to get better, dive into that. All right. So we had a good amount of people say that they were interested in this energy thing. All right. So I'll dive into it. And so first of all, I want to give one additional tip here that I found to be helpful. And before I do that, Eddie, let us know if you're still hanging with us. Let us know if that was helpful right there. So the thing is, when you're doing this cold call, I actually found this to be really helpful. When you are doing a follow-up, you want to make sure you don't get lost in the email communication. So you can always ask like, hey, what's the best subject line that we can both agree on so I don't get lost in the madness? That has been one of the best questions. Yeah, yo, hold on, wait.
Oh,
Hold on,
shoot.
wait.
We got to play a sound here. Hold on.
Wait, hold on. We gotta go back. I don't think y'all heard that one. So we gotta go
Whoa.
I said, okay, you're having a conversation, right, with someone on the phone. You're gonna get ghosted most likely, anyways. So what I say is like, hey, before I send over this email, can we both agree on a subject line, right? So I don't get lost in the madness. Or another way to say it is
sauce.
Yeah, or you can say like, hey, what's an agreed subject line that we can both have that you'd feel comfortable with, so I don't become an annoying sales rep with my follow up. If you use that, I'll do me.
Wow.
I think I'll say it one more time because like
you gotta drop the mic on that one.
Can we slow it down in real time to be like,
slow it down real quick for everybody. So you're gonna say, they're gonna like, yeah, send me an email, blah, blah. Okay, cool, whatever, great. So you're gonna say, hey, what's an agreed subject line that we can both have here, so I don't become an annoying sales rep moving forward. I promise y'all, if you use that line, the likelihood of you getting ghosted is extremely low because now you have a confirmation verbally, right? So when someone says, I will do something, right, and they agree on something, typically it's going to happen. So I wanted to drop that, y'all. But let's talk about the energy piece.
I got one thing to add to that because then you follow up with voicemails in that, right? Because I like the approach in voicemails, right? People ask all the time, do you leave voicemails? What do you do there? We all three agree we don't actually do any of that anymore, right? We do voicemails to direct them to the next step. And so, hey, Morgan, no need to call me back. I'm shooting over an email on that agreed upon subject line we used on the call we had last week. Morgan Muffins, talk to you soon. Now it's even cooler because you can power that value and, again, maintain that momentum throughout the follow-up because you're building value in every touch. You're building that consistency. So I like that because then that can swoop into that voicemail drop and they know to remember that. They're like, oh, yeah. It's like almost like a code word, like a safe word, like what's that safe word? Mistletoe. Okay, cool. Anytime I email you, I'll put mistletoe in the subject line and it's me. Perfect.
Oh man, Tom, that's hilarious.
Look, I mean, I've definitely have said that a ton, right? And the subject lines have been insane. Wait, Dan, you say reload it? You want me to go back again? Do we need to reverse it one more time for the people?
Oh, I'm gonna write this in the chat for everyone.
Let's write this out.
Do I have to go back one more time? Let me know, Danny. I'll repeat it again if you really need it.
For real, what's your craziest one? What's the craziest one? Is it live?
No, it is. I mean, yeah, it's a live appropriate. I'll the second best one. The other one was ridiculous. And yeah, we had a good laugh about it. I'm literally saying so y'all gonna be like, what? I don't even know why this was the one. But it was like it was the subject line was dancing turtles in the pond.
Get out of here with that. Are you serious? Are you serious?
That's too long. That breaks like all the best practices.
He said in all caps, put dancing turtles in the pond.
All caps.
In all caps?
In all caps. I put the meaning. It was I was like, no way. He's like, dancing turtles in the pond.
Imagine writing an entire email with just like code, like the eagle has landed, dancing turtles in the pond.
Or if they ghost you, I'm just gonna send you a meme of dancing turtles in the pond, and you're just gonna be like, "Damn it, Morgan, I got you. I'm coming back to you."
Yeah, man, dancing turtles in the pond, man. That was a funny one. We had a good laugh on that one.
That was good. I used magic goggles. Magic goggles was one of my top subject lines. And then one time I tried a campaign to 25 people with just the letter F and the letter U. Don't recommend it.
Oh, that's probably not recommended.
Yeah.
What's the best way to not make friends?
Yeah. Hey, that was in 2016, so totally ancient days, but it was super hilarious. I was like, because follow up, right? It was for follow up, but
but
comma, semicolon, F-U in caps.
People can take that the wrong way nowadays, right?
Yeah, it got open rate. My open rate was 98%, but that reply rate was trash.
Reply rate was probably suspect.
It was. They were not happy.
A little suspect. All right, y'all. So the energy, right? So I think that's what the people want to know. All right. So this is how I've been able to keep the energy high. I do 5 to 6 things pretty religiously at this point, that has allowed me to do it. So number one, I talk about this pretty often, is cryotherapy. So people ask like, okay, Morgan, why is that important? I don't like, okay. So the reason that that's important is because a couple of reasons. One is it actually helps your breathing, right? So like if you're doing a lot of stuff, like you're not gonna have a lot of energy and be tired. So it actually helps the breathing, right? It really does, and it helps you stay composed, which if you stay composed, you have higher energy, right? Two is it's actually like really good for like recovery. So if you've been like working out a lot, it's good for recovery, right? So if you're able to recover, you're going to feel refreshed, right? Energy, etc. I've also found that with cryotherapy, it like is just really good, like a restoration. Like I don't know, I just come out with a renewed mindset and I just get higher energy because you're in the cold. So it's like if you were taking a cold shower, like it's the equivalent, but like it's very, very cold. So that's number one. Number two is infrared sauna. So I get the infrared sauna either a Saturday or Sunday morning. That really helps like rejuvenate the energy. It helps you get rid of toxins. So the reason that you're tired most of the time is because you have a lot of toxins in your body. So infrared sauna like sweats all those things out. So then you can have like higher energy and optimal energy across the board. Three is I drink a ton of water, like a lot of water. So the body's made up of, I think it's 73%, 83%? Of water, right?
A lot of water.
70,
Yeah,
right?
a lot of water.
It's like 73%, right? I'm pretty sure.
Is it
It's scary.
I think
Let's
somebody
go
could fact check me, but
ChatGPT.
it's pretty high. So yeah, ChatGPT can tell us. So it's pretty high.
60%. 60%.
60%. Okay, so the thing is, I drink just a ton of water, right? So I really don't drink anything, especially like right now. Like I'm in monk mode, so the only thing I'm pretty much drinking is like water. So like it just like high energy output. Sleeping, I know it's like to be like, oh, sleeping, but like no, sleeping. I probably get like 6 to 8 hours, but I go to bed early and I wake up extremely early, right? So that's a huge piece. And then also, this is gonna sound weird, but like gratefulness, like I write down like what I'm grateful for. You're gonna have higher energy because you have higher optimism. So the reason that people have low energy is because there's a lot of reasons, but there's two main things. So there's like depression, right? And then there's anxiety. So depression is like things you think about in the past. Anxiety is things you think about in the future. So if you're not remaining in the present and being grateful, you're either worried about the past, you're depressed, or you're anxious about something in the future, right? But if you're grateful, you remain in the present, which allows you to have more energy because you can focus on what is happening today rather than in the past or the future. So I do a lot of that. And then to answer that question there, I go once a week on cryotherapy. I used to go twice a week, but that's when I hurt my Achilles. And then Nathan, yeah, if I obviously have a kid, this will completely change. But as of
He
right
beat
now,
me to it.
Oh,
So-
come on, man. Like telling us both how much time you have. Is that like a light brag? Just like you have all this time to invest in yourself.
I'm also saying I don't have a kid. So like my context is completely different, right? I could come on years later and be like, all right, y'all, like my schedule is completely different now. Yeah.
I want to see the Morgan with two tiny humans and like, all right, you
Oh,
remember all
man.
those things I told you? Throw it out the window, grab your third cup of coffee.
We'll come back
Just
when that
pray.
happens. It will probably change. It will probably change.
Shoot.
Yeah,
no.
All right, y'all. So we have some more questions here. It sounds like everybody's having a good time on Friday. We appreciate you stopping by and just hanging out with us here on this Friday. These are two good people here to learn from. So hopefully y'all follow them and continuously listen to what they have to say. So this could be a quick answer. It just says, have you ever sold to security people?
Yes.
Overall,
Yeah.
I think Ronen, this is you, and basically
Yeah.
just saying, do you find it effective across all industries, even cybersecurity? But that's your lane, so I'll let you go.
Look, it's a necessary evil when it comes to cybersecurity. I'll tell you why. Cybersecurity folks are not going to open your email. They're not going to click on your links. They have many sophisticated tools to make sure that your links don't even come through. And that's only if you're going to be able to even deliver your email to the inbox, which I think, as we all know, most of us are struggling to land in the inbox. Most of us are landing in spam now because we use our SCPs as spam cannons. But aside from that, the second thing is, what about social? I do not see security people on social much. Some do. Those are the ones who are trying to build a brand. And you can get them on social, but it's got to be, this is just like finger in the air guessing here from 5 years of selling at Security Scorecard. It's got to be less than 10% of your prospects. So that leaves you with one major channel. and one minor channel. The major channel is cold calling, obviously. The question then becomes, what is going to be the most effective tone when you're reaching out to heads of security or people in security? I've found that they actually respond pretty well to the sharp, confident tone, not as well to the friendly, warm tone, especially because if you think about what's going on in their mind all day, they're thinking about, is someone trying to trick me? Is someone trying to get me to think that this is something that it's not? So friendly, they're suspicious of. Confident and sharp, they're less suspicious of. And then humor, I think if you can hit the humor tone, which is a hard one to do, and I don't recommend it for beginners, you win. Anytime you get someone laughing, you win. Game over. The last thing I'll say there is don't sleep on direct mail. Don't sleep on it for security folks. If you can get them something in the mail, that's awesome. But this is also why, when it comes to the security industry, the event space is huge because most of these folks will meet you at an event. I hate to say it, but that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, y'all. So we have about 10 to probably 15 minutes left here, but we'll give it 10 minutes. I have a lot of questions here. Let's try to go maybe rapid fire. And if anyone has something rapid fire, you can add to the mix here. But we're gonna lock it down for the rest of the day. Nathan, thanks for stopping by. We'll send this stuff to you across the board. I know a couple people said more demos. Look, if y'all want to continuously do this, let us know in the chat. We can run it back. And then maybe we can convince Ronen that he doesn't really like hanging out with us, but maybe we can convince him to continuously hang with us. All right, so let's see. How to make a cold call when you mainly don't know what their exact pain is. Selling software dev services and companies don't usually advertise the need.
Ooh. Can I just say, you shouldn't be picking up the phone if you don't know your prospect's pain. That's it. Like, you got to know you don't have to know their exact pain, but you got to know your typical persona's pain. And you might be wrong. This person, look, are you guys familiar with Chet Holmes? He's like the famous guy who wrote a whole bunch of sales books. He's got a pyramid, and you've probably seen this pyramid 1,000 times. And the pyramid has at the top 3% of your buyers are buying now. Then there's 6 to 7% that are open to your product. And the pyramid, of course, gets bigger as you go down. And then it's 30%, 30%, 30% make up the bottom 90. It's not thinking about it. Don't think they're interested. And the bottom 30%, no, they're not interested and will never look or buy at your product. So any given time, you've got 30% of your total addressable market that will never move forward. So that means that there's typically going to be people that have the challenges that you solve, whether they're thinking about it or not, whether they think they're interested or not. The beauty of cold calling, the beauty of being able to do an outbound motion like this is just being able to help those people think about it, put it in the front of their mind. You've got your pipeline thirds. You've got your pipeline of people ready to move now, pipeline of people who need some more nurturing, but they're probably going to move in the next 3 to 6 months. And your pipeline of pure nurture. You might get some of those pure nurture folks, but there is an unescapable element of this is a numbers game. You just got to keep getting in front of your ideal buyer. So I'll say, don't get on the phone if you don't know what the most common pain point is that you solve until you've nailed that one down, because that's the core of your script. Until you've nailed that one down, it's just going to be a waste of connects. But once you have that, maybe the person doesn't realize that this is something that they're thinking about, and that's normal. They fit into 30% of the market then if they don't realize it's something that they struggle with. So partially education and evangelism of what your product can do.
So I have a hot take here.
Oh, shoot.
This, I don't know. Some people may agree with me, they may not. It doesn't really matter because this is what I believe to be true. So I'm 100% co-signing with what Ronen is saying. And this is where I think most reps are losing their time, which is doing research for every single person that they talk to and trying to say, I need to find a clue to reach out.
Get him, Morgan.
That's the biggest waste of time on earth. And I can calculate it for you. If you make a cold call, and let's say you do research for 5 minutes and you made 30 cold calls, you just wasted 90 minutes. So I don't know. That's a lot of time. What are you doing? And also, they didn't even pick up. So you literally just wasted ample amount of time. You could have made 60 calls if you just know your persona. So what does this come back to? You should just know what your personas do. What are their pain points? What are they trying to accomplish? that you should at least know, right? And you can even talk to customer success and do that as well. So I would say you should know what are the 3 to 4 things that you solve for with your solution. If you don't know that, that becomes extremely problematic, and you need to go figure out what the answers to those are. Because I can point to any product and I can be like, these are the 3 to 4 things they solve, and I don't even have to be a seller. I know they solve these 3 to 4 things. If the answer isn't there, again, to Ronan's point, that becomes a problem. Don't know if you add there, Tom, or you want to. We want to go to the next one.
Oh, I don't know, fellas. I don't know. There's two things that I disagree, and I do, and I
okay.
About all the time on.
That's okay. You're allowed to have a wrong
You're allowed
opinion.
to disagree.
Oh no!
You're allowed to be wrong, Tom.
Okay.
That's okay.
No, hey, it's fine. Don't for the next 15 seconds of this episode. Skip through. Just start here and move forward to Morgan and Ronen back on stage, and don't listen. I do agree in the sense of here's 2 things that people sleep on. Research is important. Specific to this question, how do you know the pain? I call it trigger prospecting. You have to know why you're calling this person, whatever that might be. Is that personalization? Is that research? Is it those 3, 4 pains? If you can't have that, you're not going to be confident on the phone. You're not going to objection handle. You're going to get bullied on the phone and move on. The issue that people think, though, is that every single call needs to happen. 3x3 research needs to happen on every call. You have to know this stuff. Incorrect. It's an org-wide thing. It's a rep thing. There's 3 things. 1, you need your marketing department to go through a buyer persona exercise. Get your entire revenue engine, your marketing team, go figure out your top 3, 4 buyer personas, know their pains, what they like, what they don't like, everything about them, and empower your team to know that. 2 other things, bucket and prioritize your outreach. Y'all, you don't need to be researching people that are not in your bucket. Not spending. Buckets are important. Go hit your top named accounts. Morgan, you're not going to tell me you're calling US Bank and just winging it, my guy. You are pulling in some work. You're looking at some info. But yeah, calling the local bank down the street next to the gas station. Yo, what's up, man? I know you're dealing with money problems. Let's chat, right? So you prioritize where you put that time. And one other thing that I know you 2 have lived on and do that's got you here into your career, do the stuff in the shadows. I used to set aside an hour every day to vet out my accounts for the next day. Vet and churn was an important skill I learned early on in managing my pipeline. Every day, vet in 10 new things and vet out 10 things. Every day. Drop the accounts that are wasting your time, that you've done the 20 touch points, get them out, you're wasting time, and vet new ones. But do it after hours. Go in and or at the end of your day, get that hour in, look at your verticals. Because after like a couple weeks of doing that, it's all on autopilot, dude. And then we're getting to where Morgan's at and where Ronen are saying is then you're just ripping through a really clean data list. You're talking about the specific pains. You're doing the conversations, but you got to have a clear path there to get there. And so you've got to put in that time after hours. I'm not saying every call as you're, doing it, but like put some time in, vet your accounts out, do a little research, mark them in your CRM as to, I'm calling Morgan for these 3 things. So when I get him on the phone, I can drill the pain, I can do discovery, and I'm talking about that point anytime I reach out. So that's my take. But I co-sign, I agree. I just think there's nuances to it that empower folks in ways where we're not saying research every call.
There is nuance, man. There is, you're not wrong, but I mean, you are wrong, so. No, there's definitely going to be times when like your TAM is small or high value and you want to do that research up front. That's fine. But I think for most callers out there, they have such a large TAM or such a large group of folks they can call that it's more important to just have a script that you can use and you're relevant for a certain pain, a certain persona. But there will be times like I've done it. I've done both, right? So I've done the research script. I've also done the like just relevant script, and you can scale the relevance one much faster, but it's not for everyone. You're totally right, Tom. Like most answers, it's like the answer is it depends. It depends on like the details of your company and what you're doing.
For sure.
Yeah. But just doing the like prospecting analysis, like paralysis and like spending all that, dude, I used to have SDRs that spend 30 minutes on one account just to get the voicemail, just to waste the time. Like,
oh my gosh,
I get it.
Yeah.
These people get crippled by the gurus and those folks that are like, yo, research everything. It's about prioritization, man. It's about bucketing. It's about empowering a strategic plan. It's not just willy-nilly, like just
buckets.
Hey, just because like Morgan said, dude, 5 minutes per account, you make 50 dials, dude. You're deep. Like you're not getting a lot.
You're gonna
but I think it's just a lot of grunt work, man. If you can vet out your accounts and really get into them for like a couple weeks, then that research is all done. And every time you pick up the phone, like that screen pops up and you know what you're talking about. You're building
Low key
that
though, like that. There are tools now that actually fully automate your prospecting too. Right? Like, hey,
all right, what are we even doing here? Yeah.
Oh gosh. I mean, that's true. That's true. All right. So there's 2 core questions that I want to answer, and then we'll wrap up. If y'all enjoy still hanging with us, let us know in the chat. Also, definitely connect with these 2 if you have not. And then again,
Just this guy.
just let us know, man. This has been a lot of fun. So we definitely can continue to run this back. But so there's 2 questions here, and the first one, I have such a straightforward answer on it, and this is just my take, but I'm curious on what y'all are gonna say here. And then the last one really wraps up cold calling for us. So basically, the question is, if the product isn't close to product market fit or up to scratch, how do you navigate it? I mean, my straight up answer is you better look. I would find ways to navigate in other ways. That's the best way to put it. Like,
yeah,
I just, because if it's not a fit, then there's like nothing that you can do to get around that. So I would navigate other places.
Well, there's also just a different,
like how I see it.
There's just a different goal at that point for cold calling. Like I just did this most recently when I was with Stylo.
We're living this. Yeah.
I was doing it every day. My script changed every 30 days. And what I was doing is I was validating the message market fit, which is an indicator that gets you to product market fit. So like, does my message fit with the persona? Do they respond to it positively, negatively, or neutrally? And I was tracking all of that to some degree. It's very hard to do, but I was trying to track all of it to see, like, can I string any patterns together? Can we get our product market fit faster, raise our Series A because we were able to make a bunch of cold calls? Well, we got our seed round as a result of all those cold calls made. And we did learn a lot about what people actually respond to and what they don't respond to. So it's a good way to test. And for anyone who's like an early stage founder, like give yourself a lot of wiggle room here because it's hard. You're going to actually get a ton of rejection as you test these different pieces of your potential product market fit. So just be ready to have extremely low conversion rates, conversation to meetings, and even meetings to qualified meetings and deals and so on, because that's the goal of an early stage company. Is you're just trying to find that fit. Like, what is the thing that our prospects actually want to buy? But cold calling is one of the best tools to get immediate feedback on, does my message fit my persona in the market? Message market fit is one of the most underrated approaches to early stage product market fit journey.
I agree with you on that. So I'm glad you went that route, because I was speaking from a different perspective. I was talking about if you're like Series B, Series C, and talking about it's not.
Bayo, get out of there.
That's what I was saying. I went in a different direction. I was like, okay, product market fit. It's you probably got to navigate somewhere else. So I'm glad that you actually had your context, because I was thinking product market fit, and I joined a company and I thought it was, and it's not up to scratch, because there are scenarios where the sales team is outselling the product. We've all seen this before, and it's just not updated yet. So you're doing okay, but it's not really a product market fit, and you're kind of finessing the situation. But I like your perspective as well. So I think y'all can see, obviously, there's both.
Well, that's what I was thinking, right? Is product market interest or product market fit. Like I've lived that for 5 months, right? It's you've got to evaluate. You've got to come into your market more so as a seek to understand where they could see your product, right? It might not be where it's exactly where you want it to be fit, but like, what are they telling you, right? What are they really saying is their pain right now? And can you adapt your product to that? Or do you need to scratch that and find another, more aligned offering that will match? I've watched companies create new offerings simply just by talking to the market. We were like, hey, they need this. And our engineers went and ramped it up in a couple of weeks, and we called all those people back, right? And so you pivot and kind of figure that out. So I think you just come more from, I'm not trying to sell anything right now. I'm just trying to do some networking, some market research, kind of understand what you're seeing. I'm talking with other leaders like yourself, that are finding this problem. How are you addressing it? And here's how we're thinking to do it. And you come from that, and navigate that a little bit.
No,
you went a whole other direction, Morgan.
I did. I know. I'm thinking I'm at a company and it's not a product market fit, and like we're a Series B, Series C. Yeah. Navigate.
Well, how did you? Yeah.
Navigate somewhere. I would be like.
Got to go.
Let me dust off my resume real quick.
Yeah. All right, so this last question, it's two, but it's really the last question here, and I'll flash them up so y'all can see it. So again, let us know based on those questions we just answered if that was helpful. Appreciate everyone asking different questions. If your question did not get answered, feel free to DM any of us, and we'll make sure to do that because obviously we only have a certain amount of time. All right, so this is like where I kind of want to dive into. What are the key points for a cold call, making it effective and helpful for a prospect? So pause on that, and then the other question is, what is your best strategy for opening a call? So you see how these all kind of come together. So I would say the first one that we can tackle is, what is your best introduction and why?
This is Ronen's lane. Go for it.
Yeah. I mean, I teach people the 3 big tones, right? So the friendly, the confident, and also the comedic one. So it just depends which one fits your personality better that you're going to feel more confident delivering. But let's just go with the friendly one because that's usually the one people gravitate towards the most. And this is a Sarah Brazier opener that was adapted by Sandler Sales Training, a very large sales organization. You just start by saying like, "Hey, Morgan." Morgan goes, "Yo, what's up?" And I say, "Hey, Morgan, it's Ronen Passar here with RP Advisory. Hey, how have you been, man?" He goes, "Good. Who is this?" Or "Good. How are you?" Those are the 2 responses you always get. If they say, "Good, who is this?" Yeah, Ronen with RP Advisory. Or "Good, how are you?" I say, "I'm great. Thanks for asking. Hey, look, I know nobody, and I mean nobody likes getting a cold call, especially not on a Friday morning. So I can keep it super brief, and then you can decide if you want to hang up on me. Is that fair?" That's my opener. And you get to chuckle. It's friendly. It's warm. Most people go, "I'm not going to hang up on you. Go ahead. What do you want?" Or like, "Sure, go ahead."
Love it. Tom?
Yeah, mine that I just kind of stay most comfortable to or gravitate towards is, "Hey, Ronen, it's Tom over at the SD Lab. How have you been?" Right? That whole "how have you been" versus that "how are you," that word choice, it just builds familiarity real quick, just kind of lets them get their bearings that they just picked up a call. So it's, "Hey, Ronen, Tom over at the SD Lab. How have you been? Hey, I'm going to be brief. The reason for my call is," and then I lead with my trigger. Again, you guys all know, like I only pick up the phone as best as possible, knowing I have purpose. If I don't have a purpose, I'm not blindly calling or ripping through. I try not to. I try to truly come in with, "Hey, I saw this post. I saw this. There's something here around this buyer persona that says I should be calling you." So I say, "I called you because of your post around outbound cold calling. You know, I wanted to ask you in this trigger, like ask them like a multiple choice that is common within the industry, so you can create some relevancy. Hey, Morgan, I saw your post. Most time that people struggle with the cold call, it's either with the opener, the middle, or the close. Out of curiosity, where's your team finding the most struggles right now?" And it's a leading question, and then I stop. And that's where that pause effect comes in. I chill, I go on mute, and I just let them go. And they're either going to navigate and pick their own journey, but they feel in control. And now I'm just going to ask some really great follow-up discovery questions, find where my solution can come in, seek to understand where they're at, find that in, and then get right to it. So my opener is just, "How have you been?" Bring in that trigger, and then ask them a multi-choice, open-ended that allows them to pick their own journey that you're comfortable with playing into.
It's too bad people can't hear how you actually do it because you deliver it so well. Your tone is key when you do it. We need to get some Tom recordings up here.
Recordings.
I have
Yeah, we could definitely do that for sure. That would be awesome because you could really hear it in action. I like that, Tom. That's one of the things that I coach people on is the really kind of like the capture question, the leading question. I think it's a great way to start if you have that confidence. So this is basically how I go about it.
Kenny, know your role and shut your mouth because the people's champ is ready to talk.
All right, so that's
great opener as soon as they pick up.
That's what I do every time. No, I'm kidding. So here's mine. It's called the PLA. So if y'all are taking notes, y'all can write this one down. Personal, laugh, and arms up. So this is my favorite one that I've done across the board. And here's the thing, y'all. Like, we all are probably gonna have different ones. There are always people like, this is the one, this is the golden. I'm like, no, like everybody is different because like it's style, it's delivery, right? It's the framework, it's who you're even calling, right? Because certain ways I actually probably would do it differently, right? So you got to really know that. But the way that I do it is, let's say, I'm calling Tom. I'd be like, hi, Tom, thanks for taking my call. Hey, look, I know I'm calling up the blue here. However, do you have a few moments to chat? And that's the way that I go about it, because I realize most people don't get thanked for taking a call. You laugh to create some levity, and sometimes they laugh with you. I always just recommend just don't be crazy. Don't sound like Kawhi Leonard. Don't be like, oh yeah, I'm calling out the blue. Like, don't do that, right? Because that's not gonna help you. And then like I ask, however, you have a few moments to chat, because like ultimately at the end of the day, people, that's ambiguous, right? People can say I have moments, right? If you say I have 30 seconds, well, they might only pigeonhole you to 30 seconds. If you say 2 minutes, then they might only hold you to 2 minutes. But if you say moments, it's ambiguous, so you can go any direction that you want, and then they'll be more open to talking to you. So I also don't introduce my name because I'm not important and it doesn't matter. So then immediately they say, oh, like, who are you? What do you want? Like, what's going on? What company are you from? And then that's your reason to then enter, I call it the drawbridge, enter the drawbridge to do your pitch. So that's the way I go about it.
Are we allowed to ask a question as a person on the panel? What, Morgan, what about PPOs, permission-based openers, right? You mentioned that of like, do you have moments? Like, so you're a fan of that, right? Because like for my truth, right? I tell everybody, do your thing. There's data, there's things, but like permission-based openers just aren't my jam. I think they're kind of, the person picked up the phone, that is their permission. Yep. And again, you're already encouraging them to like give you an out, which, okay, is it respectful? Is it like, I just interrupted, let me just at least ask? For me, it's they picked up the phone. They have that moment. Use it. Like Eminem says, you got this moment. Are you going to capture it or are you going to lose it? Right? Like, hey, you got to play that track. You got to, like, are you going to let it slip by saying, like, do you have a moment? No, I don't have a moment. Like, I got to go. Like, what is this? So for me, it's just, right into it, right? Morgan, hey, the reason for my call is because, again, they're going through that 30 seconds of who are you, what do you want, and what's in it for me? And for my first question to simply be like, do you have a minute? It's like, you called me, dude. Like, sure, I answered. What's up? What do you need?
It's a setup.
Yeah. So walk me through it. Through. Like, and Ronen too.
The thing is that like, whatever they answer with, I'm still going to get a meeting, even if they answer no.
Yep.
Okay.
If they answer no, it's a setup. So
it's a setup.
So this, I like chess.
Okay.
I'm
playing checkers over here. All right. I'm playing checkers over here. All right.
Well, I mean, that explains why. So chess is a great game. I don't know if y'all play chess, but chess is designed. You have to think, right? 3, 4, 5 moves ahead. Gabriel's asking for y'all's profiles. If y'all want to drop them in the chat, by the way, as I'm talking, y'all can do that, Tom and Ronen. So the thing is, like, you have to think 3, 5, 4, 5 moves ahead, and the goal is to trap people and make them certain moves, so you obviously can have the advantage, right? So the reason I asked how many, if you have a few moments to chat, is because some people may just say no. However, I know that they have time to chat because you picked up the phone. I know that, right? So if I get agreements that you want to chat anyways, makes the conversation easier. If you decide to not, then all I say is, hey, completely understand that you're busy right now. All I'm asking for is 30 seconds of your time. In that 30 seconds, I'll explain to you what we do here, at Factory X. And if that's applicable, we could put time on the calendar. If not, you can hang up on me. Does that sound fair?
Boom.
So damn, son, where'd you find this?
So the thing is, like, that's how you go about it. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, what did I do there? I know that they answer the phone. They have at least 30 to 45 seconds. Every single time someone answers the call, they have that much time. No one answers the phone and says, oh, I have a lot of things to do. That's silly because you answered the phone. You would not have answered it, right? I've never answered my phone and said, oh, I only got like 2. No, I want to answer the phone. Then 30 seconds, I can do my pitch. Your goal of the call, the outcome is to potentially solve a problem. But really, at the end of the day, your goal is to schedule a meeting. So if I get 30 seconds to schedule a meeting, I actually just accomplish it rather than even going my whole thing, handling objections, etc. Then I also said, hey, I'm going to explain this to you real quick. And like, you can hang up on me. So here's the thing. They have an out. So they know, okay, all I have to do is sit here for 30 seconds and then I have an out and this person probably won't call me anymore. Okay. And then I say, does that sound fair? Because people don't want to be unfair. Psychological reasoning. So they're like, you know what? That's fair. I can get this. I can hang up on them if I'm not interested. It's only gonna be 30 seconds. Go ahead. So it doesn't matter if they say no, yes. I don't really care what they say. There's a route that I take them on to inevitably get the meeting. So that's the way I do my permission-based openers, because if they do say yes, conversation becomes easier. If they say no, all right, fine. I'm still going to go with that route to then set it up.
That's brilliant, man. I think you nailed all the key
right.
points there on PBOs. Yeah, nothing to add to that. I just think ultimately the most important thing with any opener is how you sound and how you come off, because you can say that and it's not going to work, and you can say that and it is going to work. So it just comes down to like your tonal control, being able to practice and rehearse it enough and enough. Because like that's the sharp, confident one, by the way, what you just said. And I've heard you say that one before, Morgan. And I know when you do it, you've got that confident, buttoned up tone. Like Jordan Belfort would be proud of you, right? Because you got it down to a T.
I know that said it quite a few times.
Exactly.
But it's all like practicing, y'all. Like I had to get to that one to try to figure out what I needed to do. But I literally would sit when I was an SDR and just like write down objections and be like, all right, let's try this today. Let's go this route. How can I be funnier? Can I push the limit? And then, I got bodied on a couple calls. Yo, I got wrecked. Yo, they had to send like y'all remember the ferry? He had to come in and be like, bro, you suck. Like, help. The ferry came in for me, right? But yeah, man, that's just what it is. But I just know each scenario on a cold call. I've just heard so many. I've done a lot of calls. I've trained a lot of people. I'm like, all right, yeah, this is how you need to go about it. Otherwise, you're going to get cooked. You're going to get cooked out here. All right, y'all. So I have a call in 6 minutes. So, we have to answer this pretty quickly here. So what are the key points for cold calling that make it effective for a prospect? Let's just get one. The three of us will be 3 points. So one key point, and then we'll get out of here. And then, hopefully people can come back to the next one.
Problem solver, not a product pusher.
Amen. If you're going to work on anything, work on your tone.
I would go with, these are all great. I would go with, Gabriel, they'll never take over my soundboard.
We need to make Morgan his own. Morgan branded soundboard. I need the Morgan branded board with your sounds. I need to play your sounds in my next calls and demos. They ask me a question, I'm just going to play your script. Hold on one second. Let me play the sound.
Yeah! So, I have so many on here. Y'all are not ready.
Morgan, I'm not going to lie. We're friends with you for the soundboard.
That's it. This is the next product that's hitting the shelf, peeps. The Morgan Ingram soundboard. Buy it while it's hot.
Buy it now, $29.99.
We'll drop the link.
Hey, look, man. I'll sling a soundboard. That's the new product. I got everything else.
You got to circumnavigate. You got to find a new path.
My advice. I can't even get the advice. My advice is that when you're in a conversation with somebody, try to find the outlier words to ask follow-up questions on. So what I mean by that is some people are like, this is I'm trying to think of an example. Someone's like, yeah, our cold calling is terrible, or like our cold calling is average, right? So then you could be like, okay, it's terrible. Can you elaborate a little bit more? The thing that I've realized in cold calling is that people give you the clues, but most people are not willing to uncover the clues. Like Revelio, right? They're not willing to do that, right? So you got to be able to get that on. So that's what I would say there. Look, everybody who asked a question, hit us up. We've been here for a hot minute and we've answered a lot. So for everyone here, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for spending the time. If you would like to see us do another one of these, let us know in the chat and DM me if you want to see it again. Look, I only do it for the people, right? So if you don't want it, then oh my, he's on fire. I'm not gonna do it. So the thing at the end of the day let us know if you want to see this again. Tom, Ronen, where can people find you? And then we'll get out of here.
Do it, Ronen. Finish it out.
Find me on LinkedIn, and that's probably the best place, unless you want to learn more about what I'm working on, which is just ronenpessar.com.
There you go. I'm on LinkedIn, right? I live here, breathe here with these fellas. So find me, profiles dropped in there. dsdlab.com. You could find my website, some resources there. I have a cold calling guide, email templates, all that great stuff. But that's where I'm living and breathing. And then Twitter. I'm on Twitter. come get me in the Twitter side. That's been a fun one for me too. Morgan's over there with me. We gotta get Morgan is. We gotta get Ronen over there.
Yeah, Ronnie, you need to get involved. You know, we'll get you on.
Gotta get on the Twitter.
Everyone's been asking for the replay. If you want the replay, it's in the chat, but also it's in the event as well. And if you don't see it, just DM me. Go to YouTube. That's where the replay will be. I'm going to start doing more YouTube content, so go check that out. And then obviously you can hit me up here on LinkedIn and I'm on Twitter as well. So I mean, looks like people want more of this. So we definitely can do more of this. We will look to find more demos. We'll see if we could play Tom's calls live and even break it down ourselves. I had a blast with y'all as always. Glad we can bring this from the audio clubhouse to video, and I'm looking forward to doing more of these.
Thank you, Morgan. This was a great
Thanks,
time.
Morgan. Yeah. Where can people find you? What's up with you? Give your little snag at the end here.
YouTube, man. Come find me on YouTube. I'm spinning all my energy right now is on YouTube. I would say stay tuned. In the next 3 to 4 weeks, you're gonna see some crazy videos. I'm gonna work on these videos for like months. So the videos will be on point. So stay tuned. I mean, look, the kids are even fired up for these videos. So at the end of the day, definitely I have unlimited sounds, by the way. Like, I don't think I could ever run out of sounds.
I'm a little scared. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, this is Clubhouse days all over again, man.
We're gonna be doing like episode 630, and it's just mostly sounds.
You gotta play your most famous one, the one you used to, the air horn one, or the one you used to do.
This one?
There it is.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
That's the one.
All right, y'all. So at the end of the day, this is my favorite one.
What?
Rick Ross.
What?
Rick Ross.
Rick Ross.
Yes, sir.
Listen. No, I literally have
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, we can't play the whole entire thing on this show. All right, y'all. So I'm done. People are gonna yank me off at this point.
Hey, don't forget, take this energy with you later. You got somebody here waiting for you to bring the same fire.
I got it. So again, I appreciate y'all. We're gonna do this again. We may keep it as a monthly cadence. Let me know if there's any feedback on how we can improve this show. The goal is to make this the top class show across the board. So hit me up in the DMs for personal feedback. I'm always open to making this better. And thank you for YouTube for taking time, and we'll see y'all next time.